guys, it's Rebecca from Hillbilly Half Acre Homestead. We're going to talk about rabbit genetics today and what makes a red-eye white rabbit a red-eye white rabbit. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Hi folks, Chuck here from Hillbilly Half Acre Homestead.
And I'm Rebecca from Hillbilly Half Acre Homestead.
Didn't you do a great job on that intro? Okay folks, hey, people have been, I've had several people talk about how they enjoy watching and learning about rabbit genetics, and have been asking for some more rabbit genetics videos. Now personally I think that rabbit genetics are just fascinating, and I love to share the subject. And a lot of people just don't understand how we get a red-eyed white. You know, red-eyed white is probably one of the most simple genetics to understand. It's the gene that causes it is on the C locus. Okay, we talk about the locuses. You've got A, B, C, D, E, and we've got others, but those are the A, B, C, D, and E are the main 5 that determine coat color on the rabbit. Now, that's not all of them. There's a wideband gene, there's a Dutch gene, a Vienna gene. We're not using that today. Okay, we're worried about the C locus today, and that's where the gene is located that makes rabbits into red-eyed whites. Okay, now. The C locus, you're going to have normal rabbits that you see, your reds, any of your self colors, otters. Normally you're going to see, if you were writing out the genotype on the C locus, you're going to have a big fat capital C. And everything else that you have there pretty much doesn't matter if you've got that big fat capital C. And that is what you normally, and that basically is just, oh, he stuck me. He startled me. Anyway, I'm getting jumpy in my old age. Anyway, what was I saying?
You were talking about the capital C and the C locus.
Right, I was just making sure you were listening. Anyway, that capital C causes what you normally see, you know, your normal. Now, there are other things that can be located on the C locus are anything that causes your shaded varieties. I don't have any examples for those. Okay, I've not worked with those. When it comes time, and as we move along, and you know, we're learning and growing just as much as anyone else. And as we go along and we learn we take new steps and we learn new things. We're gonna, as soon as we know that what we're telling you is accurate, because we don't want to give you something that's not going to help you naturally. But C locus is where your chinchillas are located. I don't have any more of them, but we used to have Himalayan mini Rex and Netherland dwarfs, but I don't have any right now. Okay, so your Himalayan gene, your chinchilla gene, your shaded gene, where you get your sables, your sable points, and things like that. There's also genes located on the C locus. I don't have experience with those, folks. I've not worked with those. I will. We're eventually going to do them all. Okay? Baby steps. Baby steps. See, that's what I've had a lot of people tell me, that rabbit genetics is so overwhelming. It is if you try to take too big a step. Okay? You know, we started out with mini Rex. We had a red-eyed white, and then what was the next? Oh, our first litter was 4 brokens and a chocolate. They were all 4 chocolates, but the first litter was 4 of them were broken. No, I take that back. Aphrodite was in there too. So we had in our first litter of mini Rex, we had a blue, which is a self, we had a chocolate, and we had 3 brokens. That's what it was. rabbits. Now I got it right. And one of those rabbits still resides. One of those original 5 of that litter, that first litter that we had, still resides here at Crow's Nest Rabbitry. Just for a little fun, real quick down in the comments, y'all tell me which of our mini Rex does was originally born and raised here. There's our breeding does now. There's only one that was born and raised here. So real quick down in the comments, just for a little fun, y'all put down there and tell me who you think it is. Also, tell me who that rabbit's mama was, or is. Okay, anyway, now back to Red-Eyed Whites. We now resume regularly scheduled programming. Red-Eyed White, okay. Red-Eyed White is caused or created by, on the sea locust, if you were writing it out, it is your lowercase c. It's as recessive as you can get on the sea locust. Okay? Now, if you had Himalayan and Red-Eyed White, gene, like a Himalayan gene from one parent and a Red-Eyed White from the other, you're going to get a Himalayan rabbit because Himalayan is dominant over Red-Eyed White. Okay? Himalayan, you would actually denote it on the genotype with a C and then a lowercase c and a lowercase h. Okay, it's still C recessive, but the H tells you it's Himalayan, or at least that's how I remember it. It may not mean Himalayan, but that's how I remember it. Okay, now to get Red-Eyed White rabbits, it's real simple. All you need is two Red-Eyed White parents. Because this being recessive, you are going to get a copy. Each parent has 2 lowercase c's on the sea locust, okay? If you've got 2 Red-Eyed Whites. One of those, they give to each baby. So if each parent has nothing but Red-Eyed White gene on their sea locust, they can't give the babies anything but the Red-Eyed White gene on their sea locust. So if you're breeding 2 recessives together, if they're the same, as long as they're the same recessive, you are guaranteed that litter is going to be 100% that recessive. The Red-Eyed White gene works just like dilute. You've got 2 dilute parents. The resulting litter from that pairing is going to be 100% dilute. Chocolate. You got 2 chocolate parents. That resulting litter is going. Those are recessives. Okay. Those are going to be 100% dilute or chocolate. Okay. Now you've got 2 Red-Eyed White parents. 100% of the litter is going to be Red-Eyed White. Don't believe me? Hello. Sally had 6, lost 1. There's 5 left. We've only got 4 here on the table. That one was busy eating, and it's fallen a little bit behind, and the rest of them in weight, so I figured we just let it eat and catch up a little while. But no, Witter is the daddy to these. He's a Red-Eyed White. Sally's mama, she's a Red-Eyed White. So all 5 or all 6 were Red-Eyed White. That's just, and that's just the way it is with anytime you're pairing 2 rabbits up of the same genetic. And what I find out is, naturally, it's not so much an issue with Red-Eyed White, but in the other genes, like say chocolate and dilute, things like that, I find that the best color comes from that. If you're breeding black to a black, if you're breeding chocolate to a chocolate, if you're breeding blue to a blue, or dilute to dilute, I believe that you get your best colors that way. Which makes it difficult, because if you're showing and you want the best colors, that means technically speaking, that means if you want to follow that guideline, it means for every variety that you show, you're going to need a buck and a doe in that variety if you want to get the best color. Well, just remember that color is usually pretty low on the point scale when it comes to, didn't say it's not important, but it's pretty low on the point scale when it comes to showing and evaluating. So if you've got nice type, good fur, things like that, I say it again, furs, actually color should always be the last thing you look at, but there are exceptions to that, but I want a nice, a wise woman told me once upon a time, she's also a fellow rabbit breeder, you might know her, her name is PJ. She told me one time, she said, why worry about painting your barn before you get it built? Or something along that line. And I've never forgot it. It makes complete sense, and I'm just going to share that with you. If you've got a red rabbit, why worry about what color red that rabbit is if the body type is no good? Get the body type right first. It's worth 75 points. Or actually, on red-eyed whites, there's not a whole lot. There's no real allocation for color, I guess, except for, you know, if you put them in there and they're really badly hut stained or potty stained or whatever, then I guess you're going to have issues there. But yeah, but the red-eyed white. Now, something else you need to know about red-eyed white. When you have a red-eyed white rabbit, that double C, that double lowercase c recessive red-eyed white gene doesn't actually change the color of the rabbit or the genetic makeup of the rabbit. Okay? These rabbits are a different color underneath this white mask. This is just like, say, if you had like, okay, my pickup truck is blue and silver, so you got a blue and silver truck. Okay, look, let's all close our eyes and pretend. Well, you don't have to close your eyes, but let's pretend this is a blue and silver truck. Okay, when we bred a red-eyed white to a red-eyed white, and it got hit by that red-eyed white gene on both sides of its C locus, it went up and it threw a big old white car cover right over the top of that blue and white truck. That's the best way I know of to explain the way it works. Okay, these rabbits are still genetically another color underneath the white. This is just a cover. Okay, the color genetically the color is still there. The white has masked it. So these rabbits, they're all little pickup trucks, and they've got car covers over each and every one of them that are white. Same with their eyes. Okay. Case in point, Sally, being, New Zealand, there's not a lot you can work with there, because ordinarily if you've got a New Zealand white rabbit, you're going to be breeding New Zealand whites. Okay. But Twix, on the other hand, is a red-eyed white mini Rex. Now, I happen to know, or at least I am fairly certain, that underneath her white mask, she's a red-eyed white, underneath her red-eyed white mask, I am fairly certain that she is a chocolate otter. Okay, I don't know this for certain, but here's what I can tell you. No, wait a minute, I just talked myself out of that. She's an otter, but she's not a chocolate. She could be a black carrying chocolate otter. And the reason I say that is because, remember that blue? Remember Aphrodite? If you guys can remember far enough back, do you remember Aphrodite? She was out of Twix's first litter, and Twix was bred to a broken chocolate for that litter. So if we follow the rules of genetics, if she was bred to a broken chocolate and she is a chocolate otter, like I just thought, all of those rabbits would have been chocolate. They couldn't have been anything else. Okay? So, but she had that one blue. Aphrodite was blue, and that tells us that there was also black on that rabbit's genotype. So, she is probably a black otter that carries chocolate. I just remembered that. So, it's that simple. I mean, it's red-eyed white. Now, breeding red-eyed whites, like I said, if you're breeding two red-eyed whites together, everything you get is going to be red-eyed white. Okay? Now, not everybody breeds a red-eyed white to a red-eyed white. For instance, I don't have a red-eyed white buck on this property, and I think I think she had her second litter ever with me. Twix has never been bred to a red-eyed white buck. So she's always been mixed, bred to another color of buck. So she was bred to Smitty. For those of you that remember Smitty, she's been bred to, I guess, pretty much every time since since Smitty, she's been bred to Blueberry. I never bred her to Tagalong, and I have to remember back. Twix is sold. I'll have to refer back and see when the time comes who she is to be bred to. But I don't think she's going to be bred to Tagalong this time either. So she never will. We won't know what she could produce. More than likely, it would have been all black. But again, Twix and Hershey are leaving us probably mid June. Yeah. Shame we don't have our scales out here. I'd like to know what them rascals weigh. They're getting heavy, aren't they? They're only about 5 weeks old. But you know, she'll get some 5-week-old. Some 5-week-old mini Rex. We'll make a comparison here. Okay? Because these guys in our last video, when we filmed our last video, they had just turned 28 days old. And I don't know if that was a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever. But I think these guys are just about 5 weeks old. And this one, this little rascal, is 6, almost 7 weeks old. And at 5 weeks old, the New Zealand White wins by a head. But these guys are in the next few weeks. It's not uncommon for you to have red-eyed whites that will reach minimum weight for the show table of 6 pounds by the time they're 12 weeks old. I don't know if these will. I haven't had them on the scale yet, but I know they're getting pretty hefty. I'd say they're easily 2.5 pounds. So normally around 8 weeks old, the red-eyed whites, if you're raising for meat, that's what you want. Usually around 8 weeks old, they'll be 4 to 5 pounds, which is just about right if you want to butcher those at weaning age. That way you don't really have any food per se. Most of their nutrition comes from mama. Oh wait, this is a rabbit genetics video. Shut up, Chuck. Okay, folks. You know, that's the red-eyed white. That's everything that I can think to tell you about red-eyed white. Oh, one thing I just remembered that I do need to tell you. If you're breeding to a red-eyed white, say we're breeding a black to a red-eyed white, okay? We don't know what this red-eyed white carries. But one thing that we know for certain about a pairing, say between a black and this red-eyed white, every single baby, it's just like any other recessive. If you breed a recessive to a black or something that's dominant, every single rabbit resulting in that litter is going to carry the recessive. So black's dominant, red-eyed white's recessive. No matter what color those kits are when they're born, they are going to carry. One out of the 2 places on their seed locus is going to be filled by red-eyed white. Every single one of them. Okay, so keep that in mind. There have been a lot of people that have taken and improved their body type in their New Zealand red line by breeding to a New Zealand white, and then the resulting babies they turned around and bred them back to a red-eyed white. They would save a nice large buck out of that litter and breed it back to the red-eyed white or the red. I'll get it right here in a minute. Anyway, it's one of those things that's useful to know. That way you know if you save a baby out of, say, this one's litter, you know that every single baby is going to be carrying red-eyed white. So if you ever had a desire to raise red-eyed whites, you can. All you got to do is turn around and breed a red-eyed white back to any of the babies out of that litter.
I was just making sure Junior wasn't close. That Leland was close. Wasn't close.
He don't stay quite so close with his girlfriend sitting on the nest. But yeah, that's red-eyed white. But yeah, every single one, and I don't care who it is, what it is. If you breed a chocolate, actually I said if it's dominant. If you breed a chocolate, keep in mind that chocolate and red-eyed white are on 2 different locuses. So even if you breed a chocolate, if you breed a blue, a lilac, and a chestnut to this rabbit, every one of them is going to carry the gene for red-eyed white. So you can breed to this rabbit, you can breed a red to this rabbit, and you're probably going to get primarily chestnuts. Say if I was to breed one of Annabelle's babies to this rabbit right here, assuming it's a doe, the resulting babies were probably going to be primarily chestnut. But you can turn around and breed one of those chestnuts back to your red, and a lot of times if you've got a nice big typey chestnut out of that litter, you can improve the body type in your reds that way. It takes a couple of generations, if you maybe 2 or 3 generations, but just know that if you ever do something like that, the first generation or two you want to watch real close for smut, which would be some of the black from the chestnut trying to come out on the red. Smut is something that you can get faulted for. You'll usually find it around the ears. Annabelle's got a little bit across her belly somewhere, and but anyway, it's basically on a chestnut. It's where you would have the black guard hairs protruding and what have you. But the genes that make a red takes that black out. But sometimes in the first litter or two, they don't get it all. So you just have to watch for that. Hopefully I didn't just throw a wrench into the whole thing. But that's pretty much all we got to say about red-eyed whites, and a couple of other subjects that we didn't intend to discuss in this video. So I guess we're going to call it quits for this video. We appreciate you watching. We you know, if everybody could
subscribe.
Yeah, like, hit that like button. Okay, you're not pushing the like button. I can see you in there. I can see you. You're just sitting there staring at me. You're not pushing the like button. Okay, yeah. I guess they didn't like the video. Well, we tried.
Yep.
Anyway, subscribe. I've told you guys this before, but for those of you who maybe missed it, if you subscribe, next to the subscribe button, hit that, ring that little bell. And a little box is going to pop up, and you got to tell it. Check that box. Tell it you want to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. And we've been posting quite a few videos lately. We're going to try to, don't really have a set day of the week or anything decided on, but we're going to try to get something new out to you at least once a week. But here lately, what's it been? 2 or 3 times a week, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've been on a roll. Don't get used to it though, folks. It's going to get hot, and it's going to be hard to drag this old fat boy out of the house. Well, maybe not. Anyway, we'll see. Hi. Are you checking things out? Okay. All right, folks. Y'all thanks for watching. Have a great day, and God bless.